Hey everybody, I'm Scott Nyborg, Product Marketing Manager at Procore. Thanks for being a part of Groundbreak. I hope you're enjoying the conference so far. In this session, we're going to talk about how to effectively deliver design build projects using Procore and other key best practices. So whether you've been a part of a dozen design build projects or none at all, you're in the right place if you're interested in marrying the big picture strategy of this really effective delivery system with the tactical technology and team practices to produce first-rate project outcomes. So I'm really excited today to be speaking with Trevor Johnston, Manager of Construction Technology at XL Construction. Hey there, Trevor.
Hey, Scott. Hey, everybody. I'm Trevor Johnston. I've been in the construction industry for about 20 years now, but really I've been around it my whole life. When I was a little kid, my dad had a bulldozing business, and some of my earliest and fondest memories were riding with him on the bulldozer or playing in the back of the dump truck. Construction has just always been part of me in one way or another.
I bet those are some good memories. For my part, I found my way to Procore after 15 years in the industry. And since then, it's been a huge privilege to partner with all of you to see what we can really achieve when we set our sights to more collaborative and innovative ways of working together. Before we get started, I'd like to take a moment to remind you that all during the conference, we'll be sharing some really cool new features not yet generally available. So please make sure that you're making purchasing decisions based on what is available today. I encourage you to read the full text of this slide in our website, because for now, we're going to keep moving. So listen, we're here to talk about design build, which is not new, but it is new for some of us. And so I want to take just a couple of minutes to make sure that we're all on the same page. If you've been doing design build for a while, don't leave. This will only take a minute. To me, design build came out of the recognition that there are a few key problems with traditional delivery systems like design bid build. For one, there's no alignment of incentives between the GC and the architect. There's no contract between these two at all. So there are no structural incentives for them to act like a team. Two, builders are not present in the process until the design is essentially complete. That means that we never stop to ask about constructability or cost or alternative means and methods until it's kind of too late. And three, the competitive bid only what I see on the plans way of winning work turns out to be a real race to the bottom. And it turns builders into adversaries of the project when they could be allies. So design build is a turnkey approach to construction projects. Contractually, we put the builders and designers all on the same team, so that we've aligned their incentives. And because design and construction are basically all part of the same scope of work, we're including construction professionals in the design process. So this is really exciting from the owner's point of view because the risk that the project will suffer because designers and contractors are trying to blame each other instead of solving problems together as a team is much lower. But design build isn't really all about making things better for owners. There's a lot of promise here for builders as well. Trevor, tell us a bit about XL Construction's journey to design build. Why is XL doing this?
Well, we started doing design build roughly 10 years ago. And how we got started in design build is pretty simple. A client asked for it. Ultimately, a change in the market, though, is what's been driving our adoption. More and more owners are asking for it these days. And owners are asking for it because it simplifies the process and the risk for them. Everything's under one umbrella contract for the owner, and they get to have their say in the design, but yet they don't have to manage the design team or the architect. We, the GC, like design build because it gives us the opportunity to work side by side with the design team to utilize the design intent. The architect knows what they want a space to look like, and we can help them realize how to make that happen with the builder's mindset. So today, design build's roughly about a third of our project mix. We see owners in civic, education, and science and tech spaces are increasingly open to this. But design build does come with some risks. One of the biggest challenges can be maintaining and sticking to a budget when an owner is constantly making changes throughout the design. This can also put the schedule at risk if the design isn't locked down as you approach your CDs. However, there is potential in design build for big schedule acceleration. But if the team gets caught up using that extra time for the extra design iteration, you're going to lose that benefit. Now, where I really get excited about design build is from the construction technology perspective. The upside is that we can begin the collaboration process much, much sooner. Traditionally, we'd wait until design is done before we begin coordination. With design build, though, we can set up models right away and give teams access from the start. We don't necessarily have to have lots of meetings or run large amounts of class detection, but it gives the opportunity for all parties to see how their work is fitting in the space relative to everyone else while they're still designing. It helps break down that silo effect and can lead to much better collaboration.
Yeah, when I was in industry, our design build process was really focused on our relationship with the design team. So in our case, that meant an architect. So as the project got started, we entered into a contract with the owner that included design as part of our scope of work. And right away, we brought an architect in to lead that design. The architect was essentially our first subcontractor on the job. And this was a big improvement in the sense that the working relationship between us, the contractor, and the architect was now contractually aligned. As the builders, we now had a seat at the table during the design process, so the design could benefit from our insights into means and methods, from a better and more frequent reality check with our estimators, and so on. But that was really where improvements to the traditional process stopped for us. Our trade partners were not present in the early design process. We brought them into the team through the traditional competitive bid process that really couldn't start until the design was more or less complete, which meant that design collaboration for us went no deeper than the relationship between the architect and the GC. So one of the reasons that I'm really excited for all of you to hear from Trevor today is because XL Construction is doing so much more with their vision for design build than we were. Trevor, how are you all structuring the team, and where does all that happen in the process?
Well, depending on a number of factors, design build can enable us to either partner up with the trade partners when going after the project or allow us to bring them on board soon after award. Either way, it allows us to have our team in place much earlier in the process. And ultimately, the team is assembled here for the duration. They're starting early with design and then moving into the construction phase. This leads to all around early collaboration in continuity with the architect, trade partners, and GC from design through construction. So now your overall process looks just a little bit different than what you're used to. So the project can get awarded, you get your trades on board, whether it's in days or weeks afterward. But all this is happening at a time when there's typically only a conceptual design. So now the trade partner's knowledge and expertise is utilized during the design.
Yeah, that's really fascinating to me. So much expertise goes into the success of a project, and that expertise is distributed across the design and construction teams. So in traditional project delivery, the design is completed by designers in a vacuum. There's zero builder involvement, and that leads to design outcomes that are expensive, hard, or maybe even impossible to actually build in the field, and that don't leverage the best materials and methods. In the less ambitious flavor of design build that I was practicing, the GC was at the table during the design process. And having a builder involved means that the design can leverage better solutions that are cheaper and easier to build, and ultimately make for a better design. But what you're doing takes it to a whole nother level.
Exactly. This is setting us up to be the most successful we can, right? We're bringing the trade partners, the experts, to the table right from the start and getting their input early. Again, this is allowing us to bring a builder's mindset into design, but not just builders in the GC, but the trades as well. They're the ones that have to be able to fabricate and install the final product. We're able to create greater efficiency with this.
Yeah, it's so cool. But it can't be enough to just write a bunch of early contracts and trust that the rest will follow. So what tactical processes are you putting in place to make sure that those collaborations then actually happen?
Well, a big part of this for us is to use BIM to empower the collaboration process. That comes with its own challenges. Traditionally, BIM coordination was done by a handful of the detailers, and some clashes were faded out of the model and many items left for field verification and installation. How many people have seen that note on a drawing, right? Another issue is that the design process would take place and the models were created, but how much of that needed to be reworked once the models are turned over for construction? The real issue is that this didn't allow for participation from all the stakeholders. Another big limiting factor has been technology and tools available. Typical model viewers can be expensive when buying lots of licensing, and they can take a fair amount of training to learn to use, and most of the times, if you don't use it regularly, you forget how to use it. And another key detractor here is that not everyone is comfortable flying around in a 3D environment. It's so easy to end up stuck in a wall, below a floor, or 10,000 feet out in space looking down at a dot on your screen. It's so easy to get lost and become frustrated. Now, this is where Procore has been a game changer for us. Procore BIM is available right inside of Procore on the web and mobile platforms. There's no extra software, licenses, or special computers to run, and it's quick and easy to learn to use. The real power of the tool is that it uses a 2D drawing up in the corner of the screen to help you navigate. By simply making a couple clicks on that drawing, you can be placed precisely wherever you want to be in that model, and at any time you can click on that drawing again and go somewhere else. This gets rid of the need to be comfortable or confident in flying around in the model. And the frustrations that I just mentioned, they're now gone. Most importantly, though, is it now enables all stakeholders to have access to the model. But equally important is that everyone is now looking at the same version of the model. As an example, like too often we'll see that foremen from different trades have been looking at outdated content if they aren't being updated regularly from their own detailers. And so we can have confusion in the field because of that. So now, with everyone looking at the same version, we've got a lot more alignment on these.
Yeah. Traditionally, to the extent that the team collaborates around the model, it's through meetings where those that have access to the model share screen with those who don't. So VDC coordinators and other BIM professionals are using tools like Navisworks to explore the model. But this is an incredibly complex piece of software. And what you're saying, Trevor, is that if proficiency in tools like Navisworks is the price of admittance for interacting in the design process, that rules out a bunch of folks. So to see how we overcome that with Procore, let's look at our plugin for Navisworks. We're going to take a federated model and publish it to Procore where everybody can see it. Using the plugin, we'll click on New Model, name the model, set its status, set the home view that users will see when they first log into Procore, and choose any saved viewpoints that we want to share with the team. And most importantly, we'll add 2D sheets from the Drawings tool in Procore and calibrate them with the model. This allows for really easy navigation of the model for those folks who are more comfortable with 2D drawings. A simple point-to-point on both the drawing and the model are going to calibrate both together. And once we publish, the model will land in Procore's web application, as you can see here, and in the mobile app, which I'll show you in a few seconds. Now within the web app, we can see that we have our 2D to 3D navigation to help the user enter the model where they want to and see where they are as they move around. Within the mobile application, users are able to access the exact same model using the same 2D to 3D navigation. So let's place ourselves, say, here in this hallway. From here, we can easily turn on and off the various models, which allows the user to customize the view and see only the parts of the model that they want to. We have joysticks to intuitively move around the model, or we can lock our position and use the gyroscope mode to look around the model just by physically moving the device. If we would like to quickly jump to another user's location, we can use the Follow Me function to see what others are looking at within the model. This is a great feature when it comes to groups of folks working together digitally in the model. And it's just one example of how Procore is built from the ground up for collaboration. And on that note, what you call out about Procore's unlimited user approach is really important. If the idea is to collaborate early, often, and broadly, you can't tolerate a situation where the cost of your construction technology is in conflict with that. You know, Trevor, what's really jumping out at me about what you're saying is this. Collaboration between the design and construction teams is going to happen. There's just no way that the project gets done otherwise. The question is, when and how does this collaboration happen? In traditional project delivery, the collaboration happens during construction. The construction team really isn't present in the job much before that, and so the mechanism is this heavy RFI process that happens during construction. A lot of y'all have probably seen these McLeamy curves before. They capture the idea that as the job progresses, the potential cost of a change increases, while its potential benefit to the project decreases. Now, when we overlay the McLeamy curves on our project timeline here, it becomes kind of obvious that this late collaboration can only do so much good. Any idea or improvement or correction, anything that comes out of the process of collaboration is going to be expensive to implement and have far less positive impact on the project than it could have if we had come up with it earlier. And it's even worse than the McLeamy curves suggest, because this late in the project lifecycle, the design is complete and design costs are sunk. So any change that we contemplate is going to require redesign, and that's going to cost even more money. And on top of that, construction is underway. So even stopping a moment to ask a question, much less sort out an answer, slows down the job. And with all that pressure, it's no wonder that project relationships start to become antagonistic and further threaten the job.
Right. But when we use the design build approach, we're embracing the fact that collaboration has to happen. And if that's the case, let's do it early. Because when we do, the ideas that we come up with are cheap to implement. We can have huge positive impact on the project. Moreover, because the design isn't final, we're getting a much better design outcome much faster. And we're setting the stage for faster construction schedules too. Best of all, the team is happy. Why? Because it's fun to do killer projects. We're putting our professional skills towards producing great outcomes instead of banging our heads against the wall trying to mitigate bad ones. The key things that unlock all that are design build delivery allows us to assemble a collaborative project team really early, and Procore's model viewer technology enables equal access to the model for everyone on the team. But to take advantage of design build in this early collaboration, we need more than just a way to view the model. Tools like Navisworks offer clash detection, but not always easy to translate that out to the entire project team for meaningful collaboration. Some methods include screenshots and emails, which can be time consuming and not everybody's involved, and there's too much back and forth. We need tools to help us not only identify challenges and issues, but also allow for wider participation from the stakeholders in coming up with solutions. We need ways to leverage expertise and years of experience from the entire project team. Procore has recognized all of these needs, but taken it further and coming up with a solution that ties it into other modules within the platform. Coordination issues.
Yeah, let's take a look at coordination issues in Procore. Like you said, a lot of people think clash detection when they hear BIM. And to the extent that's part of the process, we can leverage Procore's coordination issues plugin in Navisworks. A lot of clashes are easy for the BIM coordinator to just resolve on the spot, but we can bring those few that deserve the attention of the entire team into Procore as coordination issues. We can easily set additional information in bulk fashion like type, trade, and so on. And once created, those now exist in Procore's coordination issues tool across the platform. Now, clash detection actually has a kind of narrow application in the overall design process. For the earlier and arguably more meaningful design collaboration that you're talking about, Trevor, team members observe the model and then essentially need to be able to talk with each other about what they see. So in Procore, we can launch a coordination issue right from the model. When we do, Procore creates a snapshot of the model. We can name and describe the issue, and once again, set other relevant information. Now the coordination issue essentially becomes a digital forum for design collaboration, so we're going to want to keep careful track of them. This out-of-the-box dashboard allows us to see how many issues have been created and their status. We can see progress against these coordination issues by location, and ball in court lets us see who is responsible for how many issues. We can view any issue by clicking on the line item, which opens a side panel with a thumbnail view of the model and all of its associated information. One thing that's great about the fact that all of this lives in Procore is that the thumbnail is a link into the live model, so we can click in the thumbnail and enter the model so we can better understand the issue in 3D. The coordination issue includes an activity feed as well, which is a real-time running conversation between team members on the subject of the coordination issue. It allows any project team member to collaborate on the issue, no matter what device they're using or where they're located. And this is the kind of thing that is precisely what you're talking about, Trevor. It frees the whole process from meetings, and it allows it to be an ongoing process of enriching the design by leveraging everybody, and I mean everybody, right from the beginning. Now, once we decide to take action on the item, we can elevate the issue to an RFI or an observation, which gives us a really powerful connection point to the more traditional project management and field tools in Procore. And we'll look at this in just a moment.
You know, Scott, when I think about the construction tech we're using to serve the whole process, there's kind of four big categories of things that we need it to do. For authoring tools, Autodesk is the largest suite out there, right? Though there's some others as well. And I know they're competitors of yours, so I don't mind you saying that.
No, not at all. Because we're actually not trying to compete with Autodesk in that space. Their design authoring tools are great. That's why we designed our BIM tools to integrate with Autodesk software in the first place.
Exactly. So then you've got pre-construction management and then construction management. And for us, hands down, the preferred choice is Procore for our construction management platform.
Why, thank you.
But then you've got design management. And traditionally, there's kind of a gap there. I feel like most companies are just using some sort of folder structure and cloud-based sharing platforms to distribute information. And for all the same reasons that we use Procore for construction management, it obviously makes a great choice for our design management tool as well. Consistently, I hear, I can't believe how great this is. You know, something like this enables early engagement from all stakeholders. And as you mentioned, early access to tools such as Procore BIM and coordination issues, they streamline that communication and collaboration, empowers everyone to have a voice in the conversation. And the biggest reaction is, this doesn't feel like chaos anymore.
Yeah, that's so great. You know, we can't forget that not every project is a BIM project. I spend a lot of time in smaller businesses and on smaller projects where we didn't have the resources to create and manage BIM models.
Absolutely. We don't always need a 3D model to have collaboration or coordination. Drawings are a great resource that have been around forever. And Procore's drawings tool has integrations into many of the other modules and offers another stream for engagement for all stakeholders.
Yeah. During design, we used to use the drawings tool in much the same way that you're using the model at Excel, as a clearinghouse for information about the design process. One important trick is to put sheet numbering standards in place. That way, you can upload even really early conceptual drawings to Procore and number them such that the entire history of the design progress will track seamlessly in Procore's revision tracking as the drawing set evolves. And one of the things that's really cool is that the coordination issue workflows that we've already looked at are in no way exclusive to the 3D environment. So we can create coordination issues from 2D drawings in the same way we can from the model and leverage all the same features we just saw. We talked about elevating coordination issues to RFIs. For us, our threshold for elevating was when we had consensus around the need for design change. Even though everybody's on the same team in DesignBuild, it's still really important to track accountability, create time bounds, and so on. And the RFI tool is great for all of that. The difference is we're using it early, and we're using it as a collaborative tracking tool internal to our DesignBuild team. Observations are another really powerful tool that can be super effective in DesignBuild. Plenty of times in the design phase, we identify issues where we don't really need to make a change to the design because we can just resolve it in the field. But if the field doesn't know that we've already looked at it and thought it through, they're likely to stop and ask questions and maybe even recommend that design change that we already decided we didn't need. That's the kind of process we're trying to avoid. But with observations, we can, during the design phase, leave a breadcrumb of sorts for the future field operation. Everything is linked to the drawing, which is where the folks in the field look for information in the first place. And now, when they run into this issue out there, they can see that it's already been considered and what direction they need to take. We can assign accountability on this tool as well, and the responsible party can add comments and document the resolution of the issue. This is the kind of thing that can only happen on a true platform, a single place where everybody on the team and all the workflows are united, and where everything draws from the same single body of information about the project. So we're able to unite the office and field teams, the design and construction teams, and see this really solid through line from design all the way through to execution. You know, our best projects were those where we worked with architects who were willing to ship drawing updates that showed progress, but that weren't necessarily done. And then our project teams could see and interact with that progress and share insights and ideas back to the design team.
Yeah, that's really important. It's kind of the final piece of this puzzle here, which is the process demands a bit of a mind shift for everybody. In our industry, we're used to taking a pretty defensive approach to working together. We're afraid that if we share our work and it isn't perfect, folks are going to get really mad when things change, or worse, start blaming, pointing fingers, or even possibly filing lawsuits. For DesignBuild to work as well as it can, we've got to get comfortable with collaborating on things that aren't perfect yet. So for the design team, that means being a little vulnerable and taking a leap of faith to share design work that isn't finished. And for the construction team, it means treating the work product like it is, a work in progress and not something that is, or even should be, completely dialed in.
Yeah, and this is so important to us at Procore and really to me personally. Our vision is to improve the lives of everybody in construction. And so, yeah, we're trying to be part of a digital transformation of the construction industry. But we're also trying to walk with the industry during a cultural change from a mindset of, hey, we're all in a battle here and we're going to go after this and gird our loins, versus we're all on the same team. Let's work together. Let's talk. People are allowed to make mistakes and everybody is allowed to contribute their ideas.
Scott, I really like that what you say about Procore there, because one of our key mottos here at Excel is we build to improve lives. So I like how we have that alignment going there. But you're right, though. It's a wild change, and it's important, and it's so effective when we get it right.
So Trevor, we built this as a best practices guide. So let's extract some key points here.
Yeah. The first principle is to collaborate early, often, and broadly. We want to leverage all the expertise and creative contributions we can as early as possible.
Right. And the best practices that derive from that single principle are: 1, build the project team right away so that you can access all that expertise, even early in design. 2, remove the cultural impediment to sharing design work in progress. So share unfinished design work early, often, broadly, and welcome everybody's feedback. And 3, use Procore to enable everybody to access the design. Whether you're on a BIM project or not, leverage Procore's powerful tools and its unlimited user license to capture everybody's input as the design evolves.
That's it. That's the vision we strive for here at Excel, and it's really paid off for us. We've done some really great projects as a result.
So listen, thanks everybody for spending the last half hour with us. We hope it's been valuable. And Trevor, thank you so much for speaking with me today. You've shared some really exciting ideas.
Thanks to you too, Scott. It's been a pleasure, and everybody enjoy the conference.
So long, everybody.